The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and happy Monday. It's Dave Vick here, your event specialist, if you will, for Vicktory Mondays. And today we're going to talk about increasing your annuity production by using managed money. So I have this slogan that says, the red grows the green. And if you're not doing red money, you need to do red money, and especially with Red Hawk. So I'm real excited about having Dan Hunt and Barney Coelho on the phone with me today and on the call with us to show you how to really get into managed money. The call is really about that. It's about getting you into a managed money position with some of the best money management in the country, period. And I wouldn't say that, I don't say that lightly, because my 401k is with them, and I love them. So anyway, we'll get enough promo here going on, here we go. I'm Dave Vick. Just had a message pop up on my screen. Don't know if you guys saw that, but I did. So Dave Vick, president of Vick and Associates, insurance marketing organization, and I'm the author of Bat Socks, Vegas, and Conservative Investing. I know. Who would name a book Bat Socks? And you just have to read it. There's a story in it, and stories, give concepts that run throughout the book. And so it's just it's kind of a fun read, but it's an enlightening read, and it's one that your prospects and clients ought to read. I'm the creator of the ABC planning process and all things ABC, really, the software, the college workshops, and now the new 6 Pillars of Retirement Income workshop, which I'm real excited about. And we've got advisor expos going on this week and next in Chicago, July 16th. Wednesday we're in Philly, and Rockville we're in D.C., and Friday we're in Fairfax, and then next week we're up in Minneapolis. And the cool thing about that is that you can learn everything that we do and see what we do in our college workshops and our ABC planning process, and you'll be able to walk out of there with and use our software for a 30-day free trial. So you want to get to one of those advisor expos, and then what you really want to get to, especially after listening to this call, you're going to want to get yourself up to Minneapolis to the biggest and best university that Red Hawks put on July 25th and 26th. That's next week. Oh my gosh! And we're going to be up there the day before doing our expo. So get up there, see us for 3 hours, have a great reception, and then go to another reception at 7, kicking off the Red Hawk University for the next 2 days. I'll be speaking there with Dan for a little bit, and but there's a whole host of people that will help you up there in that. And Dan's going to talk a little bit more about that. And any FMO can offer you product. Give us 3 hours, and we'll show you how to change your life through marketing that we do. And you want to keep Charlotte, North Carolina, August 14th to the 16th on your calendar, because we're going to do all our training for all our workshops, and our sales process and our software happens in 3 days in Charlotte in August. So you want to get yourself there, and you can register for any of those events at vickassociates.com. Go to the upcoming events and training tab, or just call 888-460-1115, and we'll get you registered. But you want to get yourself there, because I've guys email me every week telling me these programs have really changed their lives. They're enjoying the business again, and maybe some for the first time. So quick thought for the day. People know that I'm a Lombardi fan. I know, it's kind of weird for a guy living in Chicago who's a Bears fan, and Dan's on from Minneapolis who's a Vikings fan, and I'm a Lombardi fan. So here's a great quote. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. So it's that thought of, let's chase perfection in what we do, and we'll catch a little excellence along the way. And that was Vince Lombardi's thought, and I think we can do that in our practices, in our business, in our lives. And what would it be like to really say, know what, let's make this thing perfect. It's also what I love about Dan and Red Hawk, is they do this very, very well. They chase perfection. And if it's not right, they fix it. They keep after it and keep after it and keep honing it and keep honing it in. They're chasing that perfection, and they are catching excellence all the time. Very exciting, very exciting. So let's talk with Dan. Dan, welcome.
Thank you, Dave. Can you hear me okay?
Boy, you're breaking up a lot.
Okay. How about now? Sometimes it clears up when I use the
No,
phone this way.
it's really breaking up for me a lot. I don't know if everybody else can hear it, but it's just very choppy.
Okay, let me try again.
There it is, right there.
Gotcha? Okay.
That's perfect.
Okay, I apologize. We'll continue to talk through the phone like this. I had it on speakerphone.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you for having me on. You ready for me to start?
Let's see. Hold on. I got Barney on
Okay.
too. Do we have Barney?
Barney's right here next to me.
Okay, great. And then I always give my 7 reasons before I let you go, Dan, because
Okay.
I got 7 reasons for our agents to use Red Hawk. 1, as I said, red grows the green. I really believe this. I really believe this. If you're an insurance-only licensed advisor, you're a dinosaur, and dinosaurs die out historically. You want to get on the wave of doing something really, really well for your clients. This is it, and you don't do it just to move green money. You do it to enhance your client's position, and I guarantee you, it will grow your practice. They love the ABCs. They own them. They do some of their compliance using the ABCs. They understand it. They get it. In fact, I steal things from them that they use in the ABCs all the time. Great money management. I mean, great money management, and then great marketing. Those two. In fact, I love it that Dan uses this line all the time. It says, we're a marketing company that happens to manage money. Yes, they're very good at managing money, but very few securities organizations are great marketing companies, and these guys are a great marketing company and great service. So you call up at Red Hawk, and somebody is smiling over the phone, waiting, to get done today, right now for you, the things that need to get done. That's that chasing perfection along the way that Red Hawk catches a little excellence along the way. And then great innovation with things like the Green Money Update. And there's Barney again on the Red Money Update. And they have all these websites and online presences generating what? Generating interest and leads for advisors. And then, they're just great people. And for me, that's really important. You want to work with the kind of people that have integrity, you can trust, and that you like. And because it would really be bad to work with an organization like a securities organization and really hate the people you work with. I know that sounds really obvious, but how many times, and for those of you who've ever been through what I've been through in the securities world, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes it just drives you nuts. And that's why I love working with the people at Red Hawk, because they get it, and I enjoy them in our relationship. Having said all that, then I'm going to turn it over to the master of ceremonies here for Red Hawk, and I'll change it over to you, Dan. How's that?
Sounds good to me.
All right, you're up and running.
All right. Let me know if you can see my screen okay, and if I become garbled, it's not on purpose. Just interrupt me and say,
okay,
clear it up.
I got you.
All right. Well, thank you, Dave. And as I always tell the groups that you bring on, it's hard to be humble. We try to be humble, but when you present us the way you do, we got to keep that in mind, because you are an outstanding marketer and promoter in your own right. And we just only try very hard to live up to any of these expectations. But the key is we know your agents, we know your reps, we know registered reps, we know broker dealers, we know the SEC, we know FINRA, we know insurance companies through many, many years of experience, and we know that the bottom line is when that rep is in the field on the firing line with a prospective client, we have to do what it takes to support them in ways that we as advisors ourselves over many years never had. We never had this kind of support, especially from the securities industry. And that's why I have Barney. Let me see, my little screen popped up something too. That's why we have Barney here, who's developed this entire ramp process, Red Hawk Advisor Maximizer program, to help advisors on all these fronts. So let me just say a few things before I hand off to him, because he really has the intelligent things to say. I'm just going to say some of the normal things that businesses talk about. Here we have on the call myself, the CEO, and we've got Barney.
We're sounding garbled again.
Okay, good. Not good, actually. Just let me know if I clear up at all.
Not yet.
Okay. I don't know. How about now? Any better?
No, it's really, really garbled.
Okay. Why don't...
Right there. I don't know why that clears up.
Yeah, I'm just... Maybe I should keep my head still or something. So,
well, full of techno... This is the same thing that popped up on my screen, so...
Yeah. So I said keep
and it's really garbled now, again, so I'm not sure what to do about it.
Okay,
maybe,
let me do this. Would you mind if I call back in?
Yeah, call back in another line, and I'll keep the class entertained here somewhat, and
okay.
and so yeah, give us a call back in.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
You bet.
Bye.
And then here we go. So we having a little technical difficulty here, but we'll get that under control. And sorry for you listening to the call on that. And if some of you have questions, this is who's coming to Red Hawk University next week. The S&P Dow, they're going to be there. Two Rivers Capital, Kaplan Sterling Investments, Power Shares, BlackRock, U.S. Gold and Silver, TD Ameritrade Institutional, First Trust Advisors, and I'll be doing the ABC stuff there for a little bit, and just be there to talk with you about your practice and about what's what's going on in the industry too. So if you have questions, you can write your questions in the chat box, and I'd love to answer any of those questions. And we've got let's see, do it a little bit more here. You want to come? Okay, you're back. Great. And come to the university if you're a serious advisor who wants to learn how to make the best financial plan for your clients and the best in the industry. Don't come if you just want to sell annuities. We really want serious, advisors, and that's what we're after. So it sounds much better, Dan. I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, great. Sorry, everybody. I'm on my fancy phone system, and now I'm on my fancy iPhone. So hopefully that works better. So plug for Apple. Yeah, here's a plug for Apple. This is what they need. Okay, so you know who's on the call by now, so let's get into kind of how we view the world that sort of sets up the programs and the money management systems and everything that are in place, from this angle. You have to know, I firmly believe, even if we're only in the securities arena, what else is going on in the world to help clients in the best way and help advisors help their clients in a more holistic fashion, which for those of you, if you don't know the whole ABC process, which we know extremely well, that's one of the things we really like is the compliant nature of it, where it's holistic in its approach, but it has the client sort of doing the talking, which is very easy to support from a compliance perspective, because we do all the compliance here at Red Hawk. So when it comes to how to manage risk, clients and or advisors in most cases may have a bias relative to how they like to manage risk. And some clients, maybe a few, the exception, not the rule, will just basically ask the advisor, I don't know what to do, what should I do? Regardless, they probably have buckets of money all over the place, to include yellow money, which is cash at the bank or under the mattress. They may even have gold and silver, the physical gold and silver, or even if they don't have that, they may have a question regarding that, or they may have a pain or something bothering them regarding that. So for many years, just because of the people representing these markets or these products, we kind of stayed away from the physical gold and silver element element, if you will, but have since thought wiser because we have, through our marketing programs, so many inquiries relative to, what should I do about gold and silver? And we learned that if you didn't have an answer, and the advisor didn't have an answer, and you just avoid it and say, okay, go find someone else or call that 800 number on your next, TV commercial, that you're missing opportunities because in most cases, a gold and silver question can turn into what we call a green money sale. They're really looking for safety and security against evil, that can happen to one's estate. What a nice segue into principal protection type products such as your fixed index annuities. So that's another bucket, the green money bucket. The red money bucket, which is where we're focused on building services and products to help integrate with these other ones. And then we've added what we call blue money, which is, folks who have their own, they've invested a lot of their own capital in their own business, and they may or may not be retired, or that business may not have converted to liquid capital that they can then invest in a green money and or a red money bucket. So these things are important to consider and let people know that you are thinking about them. Therefore, you can do what we call attract more fish with more lures. So the one thing that we've had to learn over the years is, what is it that we're good at? Where is it that we think we can be the best in the world? And not that we ever can be the best in the world, but we'd like to think that we're getting pretty good at the process of managing risk. That's it. It's a process, and it fits within other processes. And if you don't put the gears together, if one gear is out of whack, the entire vehicle can come to a grinding halt. And that's the way we look at it. You have managing money, which should be integrated with the sales support process and the marketing process. Separating any or all of those, and you kind of get an engine that doesn't run very well. If you put them together and understand that they absolutely work together, then your business will accelerate at a rapid pace, your clients will be well taken care of, and on and on and on. And there's a picture of Barney actually managing portfolios there on the lower left. So we're active managers of our own portfolios. We've included some others as well. But integrated with all of this, we promote through our daily newsletter, what it is we're doing in those models and why. And that's so we can keep in contact with our existing clients, but also help you attract and keep more prospective clients and let them close over time at the pace they would have closed at anyway. You all know as well as I do that if you push someone too fast in the wrong direction, some of those fish will swim away. What's better to integrate these processes and let certain things happen over time, and other processes happen quicker, such as the ABC process itself, where you're communicating via colleges and so on. I could go on and on. This is the favorite part. I call it the hedgehog. It's that focus. What's that one thing in the world that you're good at? Comes from Jim Collins, Good to Great. You take it extremely serious. So the hedgehog, the process for managing risk, is where we think we fit in. And as a critical component of that, if you think you're good at managing risk, part of that process has to be the sales support. It must be. And so that's what RAMP is. And so what I wanted to do is put Barney on the line here and have him take you through, the process, the concepts, physically show you, the tools and the applications that he has designed and put into place that work every single day to help advisors get and process new business and keep that new business and cause it to create referrals over many years thereafter. So with that, let me introduce you our Vice President, Portfolio Management, Grant Director, Mr. Barney Coelho. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on the call today. Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to team up with you always. So we appreciate being invited to the party.
Oh, you bet.
And,
I love having you guys on. You know I do.
well, thank you. And I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Dave, at what point at what point do you want me? Do you want us to be done and hand it back to you?
How about 5 minutes till?
5 minutes? Okay.
5 minutes
5
to
minutes
the hour. 5 minutes to
5 minutes to the hour.
to
Got it.
minutes.
All right. Got it. Okay.
No, you have more than 5 minutes, Barney. We planned for about a lot more, so you're good to go.
Well, I know your sense of humor, Dave, so I didn't know if you were just trying to, see my reaction.
I would have loved to have seen your face right then. Okay.
Well, I know you well enough to think, okay, well, Dave's pulling on our leg again. All right, folks. We're getting right into it here because we know everybody's time is valuable. What we do may or may not be a good fit for you as agents and or advisors on this call. So what we always, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that after roughly 20 years in sales, the best of what I know I learned really in the last 3 or so years, thanks to a great mentor that happened to come into my life at just the right time. And he's a very wise, experienced, and very generous man with his knowledge and sales expertise. He's in the business of training salespeople in Fortune 100 companies all over the country, and that's what he does for a living. And he looked me right in the eye, and at that time, we were, I would say this, we were hit or miss. We were having success, but sometimes we would close a sale, if you want to call it that. We would acquire a client, and we'd be happy with that, but it'd be, and then there'd be other times when it would seem like all the same buying signals were there, and yet that other client would walk away without, or that other prospect would walk away without becoming a client, and we really didn't know, well, why did one work and the other didn't? And so what this gentleman, this wise sage, who's become a friend and a mentor to me, what he showed me was a systematic process, and it's focused on pain. And he looked at me without arrogance or cockiness, because as Dan said, we try hard to surround ourselves with humble people, and we try to aspire to be humble yet confident. And he looked me right now and he said, Barney, what I'm about to teach you will make you money. He said it just like that, and I'll never forget it. And because I followed what he said, and of course I adapted it to our industry, he was 100% correct. Our closing ratios, our case size, our success went through the roof. And so that's the genesis of what I'm about to share with you. And so the thing with pain is that we as human beings, how many of you on the call, if you were honest with yourself, how many of you like change? Chances are not very many. And I would say that Dan and I, we embrace change. We sometimes go out seeking after change. But even we, if we had to really be honest with ourselves, we'd say, you know what? Going through change is always painful. In fact, in the field of biology, they call it homeostasis, meaning that all animals, human beings, plants, we're all wired to do everything in our power to maintain the status quo. So what we've become very clear about is you as agents and advisors on this call, what Dave and Dan and I are proposing to you is to go through the pain of change. And if we're in, again, if we put ourselves in your shoes, we would say, well, why should I go through that change? I mean, Dave seems like a nice guy and all, and Dan and Barney, made a couple of points, but why would I go through that? Why would I disrupt my practice? And so what Larry taught me is the pain of staying the same has to be greater than the pain of the change. If that doesn't happen, there is no, I'll let you drive there. There's no chance. That's not a real prospect. because they're not, the pain isn't severe enough to make the change. So that being said, here are some of the pains from the advisor perspective that other agents and advisors have told us. They said, hey, I wish I had a friend instead of a foe on the red money side, because I've written a big check. I have stood in front of the room and I'm sweating bullets, but I'm trying to look calm and cool and confident rather than desperate. But in my heart of hearts, I'm hoping and praying that maybe half of these people will book an appointment with me and come see me in my office. And then maybe half of them will actually become clients. And if that happens, then I can cover the expenses for putting on the marketing plan, the ABC workshop, or whatever it is that you're doing, and then make some profit and be able to have enough left over to do it all over again the next month or the next quarter. So we know what that's like. And to go through all of that time, effort, capital investment risk to think that you have a case, that you have a prospect that's about to become your client, only to have the wirehouse guy, the broker on the other end of the transaction, sabotage all your hard work. Or maybe this sounds familiar, that you propose a fixed index annuity solution, a green money solution, and the broker says to so the client goes back and checks with the broker, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Let's say if Dave was the green money partner here in this scenario. Hey, Dave suggested I do this and this. What do you think? And then he says, oh, well, why didn't you say you wanted a guarantee or you wanted an annuity? We can do that for you. And then that broker on the other end, he or she promptly throws them into a variable annuity, and all's good. And so they've just benefited. And meanwhile, they hadn't contacted that prospect. They hadn't talked to them for maybe years in some cases. So thanks to all of your marketing dollars and hard work, they got a nice sale out of it. So they want a friend instead of a foe to help level the playing field. Others have said, hey, I would like to be able to move the money more quickly and efficiently. Oh, and by the way, compliantly, this is what we do, as Dave alluded to. A large part of the RAMP process was designed to collaborate and to serve as an extension of a green money advisor, insurance-only advisor. And so to help them move the money more quickly so that, one, we don't slow down the sales process with the conservation efforts of the broker that we talked about. We don't end up having to settle for a smaller case, or in some instances, lose the case entirely. And if I could now start promoting and touting the fact that I have a red money solution in conjunction with my green money solution, whether that's internal to my practice or externally through a strategic partnership, if I could start promoting that, I would get more referrals, which would solve my number one pain as an advisor, which is I need more leads. So if any of those resonate with you, that's why we created this. Here is the flow of our RAMP process, and RAMP stands for Red Hawk Advisor Maximizer Program. And one thing I would implore you to do, I literally beg of you, please, please, please do not try to shortcut the system. Do not look at, oh, dial presentation, I've seen that dial before, and that's really cool software, and that's where the meat and potatoes are. That's the good stuff. I want to, I don't need to bother with step 1 or step 2. I'm just going to jump right into the cool stuff, and that will for sure wow this person into becoming our client. Wrong. Fatal flaw that we all, as human beings who happen to be in the sales consultation arena, we all make the mistake of being too excited about our cool stuff. And that may be the latest and greatest fixed index annuity with the most incredible income rider, with the most flexible crediting methods and roll-ups and so on. Or it could be Red Hawk with the coolest global tactical asset allocation, dynamic ETF-based models. cool stuff, right? And should we be excited? Should we have conviction and belief and passion for what we do and how we serve people? Absolutely we should. But one of the big things that my mentor taught me is our nature is that we want to throw up our cool stuff. Throw up and throw up. Throw up all over. And what that means is, I'm sorry to be so graphic, but what that means is we're presenting our cool stuff way too early in the sales process to way too many unqualified prospects. And what those prospects are really after is they came into your seminar or your ABC class or even your office with their arms folded, husband and wife, promising each other, hey, we're not going to do business with Dave, we're not going to do business with Barney. Remember that, honey. We are just here to pick their brain, eat their food, or go through their course, and if anything, we might learn a nugget or two that we'll go home and implement on our own, or we'll take back to our favorite broker that we've dealt with for the last 10, 15 years. And really what they're trying to do is to get us to give them free advice, free consulting, and not do business with us. And so what our process is designed to do is the front end goes through a very systematic pre-qualifying and pre-commitment process. And after, only in step 3 is the prospect now qualified to see our cool stuff. I cannot, I'm belaboring the point, but I cannot stress it enough. If you shortcut the process, you will see that your closing ratios will go down, your case sizes will go down, and then you'll wonder why it didn't work. Or you might fault our system and say, well, I tried that Red Hawk system, it didn't work. Well, it may be that you tried part of it and didn't really stick with the program. So we'll show that here in a minute, but it's a 5-step process, and we've got it chunked down into modules. So what we do now is, previously, you would conference me in, patch me in, and I would talk live with you and your prospect so that our goal here is to make you look great. And so we would serve as an extension of you and your practice. We often use the medical analogy, the medical profession as a model. So what we say is, if Dave is that green money specialist, we would say that Dave is the family practitioner. It's his job to know anything and everything about that family. And that includes income planning. That includes, obviously, specializing in the green money for protection. It includes estate planning, tax planning, disability, long-term care, all of those things that we're not expert in. But Dave, as the family practitioner, his job is to ask questions, probe for pain, and if he uncovers pain or a need, then he is skilled at either meeting those himself, or let's say he doesn't do long-term care, or he doesn't do one of those ancillary specialties. Well, then he has assembled a team of specialists that, just like a family practitioner would bring in a cardiologist or bring in some other kind of surgeon or a podiatrist or whatever the need is, he would draw upon his network of referral partners and specialists that would come in and do that part of the work. So in that sense, Red Hawk is that strategic partner in the niche of the red money. So everything we do is to make that family practitioner look phenomenal. None of it is meant to say, oh, well, that person doesn't really know what they're doing, and that's why we're coming in. No, no, no. They're looking out for your best interest. All right. So what we used to do is we would do this live, and that worked really well, as Dan alluded to. For a qualified prospect, we were getting closing ratios of better than 90%. But the good problem to have, and we're very grateful for this problem, is that the program really took off, and that we had a green money only version of it, and then pretty soon the red money guys and gals said, hey, can we have our version of that too? And we said, hey, that's a great idea. Sure, we'll build that too. And pretty soon there weren't enough hours in the day, and what that meant is that you, let's say Dave, or the advisors on this call, you might have a hot prospect ready to go, but my calendar's not freed up. So we hit that point where it was not as scalable as you all needed it to be and we wanted it to be. So what we did is we said, hey, can we take what's worked so well in the live setting, and can we scale that using technology? And the answer so far has been an emphatic yes. So what we did is we said, and we'll show you the website here in a minute, well, the pain video is, right now it's 13 minutes. I'd like to do a next iteration to get that down to 10 minutes or maybe even a little bit less. So then what you will get to do as the advisor is you, one other important point, do not email the information we're about to send you or share with you. Do not email that link, username, and password to your prospect or your client and say, here, watch this sometime, or watch this weekend. That won't work. This is meant to incorporate into just when they're in your office, and whether that's meeting number 2 or meeting number 3, part of that recommendation process. So you tell us where, at what point, and how you'd like us to fit into your practice. So typically, it's at that second or third meeting for recommendation. You would pull up the website, log in, and you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm not sure if this makes much sense, if we need to spend much time together on it. But, you know, when we talked about the red money, this is a strategic partner that we've aligned with, and they've got a short video here. We spend about 12, 13 minutes to see if it's worth proceeding, or if not, we can just cross it off our list. So then what you'll simply do is push the link there, and they'll start playing the video, and it goes through our 3 pain probes. Then at the end of that pain probe video, oh, and by the way, the 3 pain probes, again, I guess we need to come back here. Okay, so, and I get back on the slideshow. So from the client's perspective, so we started talking about the advisor pains and why, what are we trying to solve there? And of course, we understand that as an advisor, you have taken on the responsibility of solving your client's pain. So if we solved yours but didn't solve your client, what have we really done? We haven't really helped you or the client. So here are the 3 main complaints or concerns that we hear from investors, boomers or retirees, all across the country about Wall Street, or about the financial industry as a whole. Number 1, I don't hear from my advisor often enough. And so in the video, we'll say, Mr. and Ms. Smith, when was the last time you heard from your advisor when he wasn't calling to sell you something? And we shut up and let them tell us. And if I were you, I would, as you're sitting in your conference room and watching the video, you can pause the video and, or very quickly jot down their answer to what the video is asking. Second main complaint is when the markets take a significant nosedive like they did in 07 to 09, and before that it was 2000 to 03, we hear from them even less. And but during those times of market turmoil, how often did you hear from your broker then? When we shut up and let them tell us. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, most of the people that are now becoming our clients are very much like you. They are responsible people. They are typically conservative by nature. They have done they've made a lot of great decisions over the years. They have lived well below their means. They've saved. They've invested. And as a result, they have a significant nest egg to show for their efforts. So when they see the market devastating their life savings, and because they haven't heard from that broker in so long, they will typically reach out to that broker proactively, or in some cases reactively, and express their fear, their frustration, their concern, their anxiety, maybe even their anger at what's happening to their life savings. And what they tell us is that they're really saying, hey, I've been through this bear market twice now in the last dozen or so years. I don't want to go through it a third time. What should I do? Do you have any exit strategies for me? And if they're lucky enough to get the broker on the phone, they will. The broker will typically respond with a cliche, is what they've told us. And the cliches that they have heard are, for example, oh, don't worry about it, you're in for a long haul. Well, don't worry about it, it's just a paper loss. Well, don't worry about it, markets always come back. Oh, don't worry about it. You're well diversified. Oh, hey, stocks are cheap. In fact, how would you like to buy some more? And we even had a lady came into our office who told us her previous broker said to her, don't open up your statements. It'll only upset you. And I wish I could say I was making that up, but that's a 100% true story. So, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, any of those cliches resonate with you. So we shut up and let them tell us. The third main complaint against Wall Street is that by this stage of their investment career, they find they've accumulated a hodgepodge of financial products. Maybe it's some stocks over here and some bonds over there and some mutual funds and variable annuities and maybe some life insurance and some REITs and real estate and precious metals and so on. What they tell us they're frustrated about is they can't picture on one screen or one sheet of music how all the different pieces of their plan are blended together, or whether they're even blended at all. And so what of it is they wonder, this end result, is that even within my comfort zone when it comes to risk and potential return? So help me understand, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, on a scale of, say, 1 to 5, 1 being number one priority, 5 being not important at all, how important would it be to you to see on one screen how all the different pieces of your plan are blending together and whether or not that's within your comfort zone of risk and potential return? So we shut up and let them tell us on a scale of 1 to 5. So what we have found is if the client says, yes, 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 I have, or the prospect, you need a case, yes, 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 I have all 3 of those pains, it's better than a 90% chance they're about to become your client and ours. If they say yes to 2 out of those 3, there's a better than 50% chance they're about to become our client. If they say no to all 3, there's a better than 90% chance that we're about to end the meeting in the next few minutes, because chances are we don't have a good prospect. They're tire kickers and plate lickers, as we like to say from time to time. But before we send them on their way, and then we would do it very tactfully, respectfully, professionally, we would give them one last chance to admit to pain, and that would sound something like this. If they say that, we call that a sweeper. So they've said, no, I don't have any of these, I'm squared away. So we say, well, gee, Mr. and Ms. Smith, sounds like you are in really great shape. And quite frankly, you might not need our help. You've obviously done a fantastic job of choosing an outstanding broker. Congratulations to you. However, given that perfection is a rare thing, if there's anything at all about your financial situation that you could improve upon, what would that look like? We shut up and let them tell us. And so, and if they give us something, then we may drill down on that. If they tell us, oh, no, I was really, I always like to keep up to date on what's going on in the markets, and Dave's lunch seminar happened to be at my favorite restaurant, and those types of things, then we'd say, well, gee, Mr. and Ms. Smith, it's exactly as we thought. You're in such great shape, you don't need our help right now. If that should change down the road, by all means, let Dave know, let us know, and we'd be happy to revisit it with you later. But we've identified that early on by spending about 15, 20 minutes instead of letting them string us along for 2 months, only to say, well, let me think about it. All right. But if they've said yes to those things, then this is where we start getting into the solution or presenting the cool stuff. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith, what if instead of, I don't hear from my broker often enough, what if you could hear from us every day? Or every week if you prefer. Not in an obnoxious way, but a gentle reminder delivered to your inbox that says, Red Hawk has my back. They're watching my stuff every single day, and they're ready to take action if and when it's necessary. How would that make you feel? So shut up and let them tell us. Now here's potentially what that might look like. We have a proprietary system of red, yellow, and green traffic lights or weather lights, and we report on that every day based on the specific asset classes, ETFs, or stocks that you own. Okay. And then what if, second thing, what if instead of that, next time the market goes through its significant downturn, like a bear market, and oh, by the way, if you're like most of the people that are becoming our clients, they tell us that while they're thankful that the market's been doing pretty well over the last several months, that they don't trust the markets as much as they used to. In fact, they tell us they almost feel like they're waiting for the other shoe to drop. as they look around, they see the debt, the deficit, unemployment, China, Eurozone crisis, and so on, all the different threats to the market, and they feel like it's not so much a question of if, but rather a question of when we're going to see that next big downturn. Do you tend to agree with those folks, or do you see it differently? And most of the time they're going to say, oh yeah, I have those very same concerns. So then if we're all in agreement that there will be a next time, so when that happens, what if instead of a tired old cliche, you can have a real exit strategy? So for example, if we could say, instead of don't worry about it, you're in it for the long haul, what if we could say, don't worry about it, you're already in cash? How would that make you feel? We shut up and let them tell us. And then lastly, what if instead of that hodgepodge of financial products, in a few minutes here we could let you drive, and you could dial up or dial down the exact percentage of red money versus green money, plus any other asset classes that are of interest to you. And you could see what that did, not as a guarantee, other than on the green money side that Dave has done for you, but you could see, you could at least get an idea of what that would look like in terms of potential risk and return. How would that make you feel? Well, we let them tell us. And if we've got a truly a good prospect, they would be saying things like, oh, that would be great. I could sleep better at night. That would give me peace of mind. Those would be the answers we'd be looking for there. And so then we would move on, and we would do a little check here where we'd say, I want to make sure we're not wasting anybody's time here. So if by working together with Dave, if we could accomplish these 3 items for you, do you foresee any reason at all why you wouldn't have Dave and I really roll up our sleeves and get to work on your behalf? And they should say yes by this point, unless they've been lying to us until now. And for the sake of time, we won't be able to go through all of the dial presentation here, but this is part of what we do. For example, bear with us, folks, a little technical difficulty. All right, so there we go. What we do is we go through the weather analogy. We talk about the red line, which is one of the Red Hawk models, and the blue line, which is the market, and specifically when the capital preservation, which is what CP stands for, when that would have kicked in, and we help them understand it's never perfect. We can never get them in at the exact bottom or out at the exact top. It's always going to be a little late because it's a trend following system, so therefore the trend must reveal itself. What we're aiming to do is capture about 70% of the gain on the way up and avoid about 70% of the pain on the way down. And we ask certain questions in the right way at the right time, and we get their buy-in all the way through. And then the big finale, if you will, the closing question is we'll say, now I understand that you and Dave have been talking about roughly around a 50-50 mix between the red and the green money, and for the sake of this dial, we don't include the yellow money, so we're assuming that you've already got that covered. So then we'll say, now keep your eye, if you would, do me a favor and keep your eyes on the peaks and valleys of that red line and show me what do you notice as we dial in, say, 50% green money. And oh, by the way, if they're interested in gold and silver, we can do that as well. If they're interested in a bear overlay, which is a way that they could potentially make money in down markets, we can do that. But we're not here to push anything on them. We're here to let them tell us what pains they would like us to solve. And then we choose from our toolkit, if you will, to pick the right solution. So when we say, what do you notice about the peaks and valleys, they're going to say, well, it's smoothing out the ride. They got less. And so we'll say, yeah, sometimes our clients will tell us that it took some of the excitement out of the roller coaster ride. And then what we would say is, by working together with Dave, is this what you were hoping we could accomplish? And if they've made it this far, 90+% of the time, they're going to say, yes, it is. Then we test for sense of urgency. And we say, well, typically, a couple of ways we can go about it from here is we can let the paperwork and the process run its course, and then depending on the firm that you currently have it with, that can take anywhere from a couple weeks to several weeks for the transfers to happen. Or sometimes new clients are really concerned and they want to get things implemented right away. So how soon were you hoping that we could, that you'd have these exit strategies implemented? And if they say, well, yesterday or immediately, and we say, okay, well, would you like us to share with you what other new clients have found helpful at this stage of the process? They're going to say yes. We say, well, if you'd like, with your permission and on your behalf, we can contact your previous brokerage firm. Bypass the broker. Nobody wants to talk to their broker about this. Go directly to the trading desk, if that firm allows it, and we can instruct them to immediately liquidate all of your current holdings. So within 3 business days, it's sitting in cash, ready to be deployed into the green money solutions that you worked on with Dave, as well as the red money solutions that we just talked about today. Would you like us to help you with that? And if there is that sense of urgency, they're going to say yes, and then that would generate a conference call with the previous firm. That's how we do that. And I'll hand it back to Dan, and then he'll hand it back to Dave. So there's a lot more we could go into, but we're trying to keep it concise for the sake of time. Thank you very much, Barney. Just wanted to, I know, Dave, you talk about various events and so on that are coming up, but I wanted to make sure that everybody, in case, I think, Dave, you're recording this for future use, in case you want to see the other materials and events that we have available. One thing to do is the daily research email, getting email addresses so we can show everybody basically what it is we're doing and how we're doing it. The webinars, we have some other webinars that you see listed here, from discovery to using the dial to doing the proposals. And what we're doing on the retirement plan services side, especially with RAMP, sort of built into it, from finding clients and prospects, marketing opportunities relative to the 401k market, and then how to make the sale and what we can do to assist advisors there. Because in a lot of cases, you haven't been doing 401k services. That's a whole new, frontier. We like to make that as comfortable as possible. And then there's these level 100 webinars, the basic webinars we do every other Monday at 9:30 Central Time that, Dave, your advisors and prospective advisors are welcome to get on. And then obviously you have your event the day before our event here in Minneapolis, and just right after you, we're doing our level 200 right here in town. The S&P and Dow folks are coming in to present there, along with all the other some big institutional players. And I also listed the noon Central Time. It's usually the second Thursday of the month on 8/8. That's August 8th. We're going to do a monthly manager call, which your folks can get on. Did you want me to show? Oh, yeah. I guess the other thing I wanted to mention to everyone, Dave, is we have this website, and I'll just tell you what it is, because I put this together sort of this morning and didn't write this out, but it's Advisor, so ADVISOR .redhawkwa.net. Go to advisor.redhawkwa.net. On the lower left side, it says Become a Red Hawk Advisor. Even if you have no clue what you're going to do relative to the relationship we have, that survey is a really good thing to have filled out and in our database, so we can help you better, as folks figure out where they're going to go from here.
Even if your intent is to remain green money.
Yep. So that's our plan of attack. Green money, red money, combination, registered rep. We don't care. Whatever the type of advisor is, that information helps us help you much better. So with that, I'll get it back to you, Dave, and thank you very much again for the opportunity to speak with your folks.
I really appreciate you guys being on and all that you offer for our guys. It's and really it's just a matter of building their practice, building their business, and getting away from just being a green money specialist to being a really well-rounded producer. And just wanted to remind everybody again of those that July 25th and 26th, Minneapolis date. And you can call Red Hawk up there at 888-835-4295 and get registered. And that promises this to be the biggest and best university yet, and some very special people there. And we're going to be there the day before from 2 to 5 p.m. So visit us there. And Dan and Barney, we get 2 receptions, one at 5 and one at 7.
How about that?
Hey, just come up for the receptions. It'll be a blast. You're gonna have quite a night. But thanks, Dan and Barney. Really appreciate you guys being on and all that you do. And we'll see you again next month on our webinars. But we'll see you again next week, and look forward to growing the red and growing the green. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
And again, just want to make sure that you are familiar with our advisor expos. Get to the Chicago one, or Philadelphia, Rockville, Fairfax, Minneapolis. You can also, you want to get to our 3 days of training, where we train on all our workshops and seminars and software and ABC planning process. And just go to the website and register for those events, or call us here and we'll get you registered for them. And if you want marketing and sales support, you want to call here at 888-460-1115. If you want ABC Workshop administration support or any ABC administration support, you can give Debbie a call, 888-460-1115, or Debbie at vickassociates.com. And also, if you want to get started and get a demographic study for your workshop, you want to give Brian Steppen a call, and for seminar and workshop marketing and any marketing at all. Brian will take care of that for us. And then you have product questions about carriers, about products like Allianz, American Equity, ING, Great American, National Western, all those great companies that we represent, and you want to help with the case, quotes, and case design, you want to give Chad Blanton a call. Chad's really great at giving you ideas to help you close deals, and I think he's really I was listening to him this morning. We were talking back and forth and working with an agent, and it was excellent. So you want to give Chad a call. He's at FIG, and that's our power partner. FIG takes care of all our back office, all of our product and casework design, and then all of our applications. Go through FIG, and they'll scrub them for you, make sure they call the transferring company, make sure it actually gets transferred, so that you don't have to do that. And so we've got a great back office for you in our power partner with Chad and FIG. So give them a call, 800-527-1155. Ask for Chad, and if he's not available, they'll get our other marketers there, and just tell them you're with us, Vick and Associates, and they'll get you handled. So next Monday, we're going to go through the ABC planning process, and I'm going to show you, how it works and how simple it is to have people tell you how much money they want in red, how much money they want in green. And we'll go through the questions, the whole process, the 12-step process, especially in the first meeting. So you won't want to miss that. It's going to be a great, and if you've seen it before, it's a great tutorial to take you through again to make sure you're doing it right. So you're going to move millions through the ABC planning process. And visit our website at vickassociates.com and register for events and see who our power partners are. Check us out, who we are and all that we do, all our carriers, and give us a call, 888-460-1115. If your FMO doesn't have the marketing that you need, I am confident, I guarantee we can increase your production. And so we want you, we know that you are all winners, and we want you to win big, so have a great week. Take care.